Are you tired of your valuable ideas and suggestions getting lost in the shuffle? Well, that is why I'm introducing Direct Suggest, the revolutionary digital suggestion box that puts your voice front and center. With Direct Suggest, you have the power to make a difference in your organization. Direct Suggest provides value to organizations in various industries worldwide, including notable brands like Comcast, TD Bank, and Nokia. And here's the best part. Direct Suggest only costs 50 cents per employee per month, making it an affordable solution for businesses of all sizes. Plus, they have an incredibly high ROI and savings potential with an average 33 times return on investment. The implementation process is also a breeze. Once committed, setting up Direct Suggest from start to finish can be completed in as quickly as a week or less. Don't let your ideas or your team's ideas go unnoticed. Visit directsuggest.com today and start by making a difference with Direct Suggest. Use the promo code HUMANHR for your extended 60-day free trial. Again, visit directsuggest.com to learn more, and remember to use promo code HUMANHR for an extended free trial. Direct Suggest, where your voice matters. Welcome to the Bringing the Human Back to Human Resources podcast. I'm Tracy Chernoff, and I've spent my entire professional career in HR. Each week, we'll explore the delicate balance between people and business with the aim to reconnect the two and create meaningful outcomes. Listen in as I share my own experiences, challenge the status quo, and chat with guests from various industries about our mission to bring the human back to human resources. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks so much for being here for another week. By the time this episode comes out, it's already 2024, which I cannot believe. So happy New Year to everyone, depending on how late into January this comes out. I have a very special guest, actually a friend of mine, on the podcast today, and probably the first guest that I've had to actually talk about running a small business and the challenges that come with running a small business and having, in essence, like, these HR challenges that we see every day, but potentially with limited resources. So we're going to talk all about that today. So let me introduce you to Asia Cohen. Working for brands like Fila, Champion, and Converse brought about Asia's passion for designing activewear, yet opened her mind to the negative impact fast fashion has on the environment. Completing her 200-hour yoga teacher training inspired her passion for wellness and mindfulness. That, combined with her strong ties to her faith, were the driving forces that led to the creation of Transcendent Active and the desire to create a fashionable, sustainable, modest activewear collection. Eventually moving back to New Jersey and doing some soul searching, Asia was determined to blend her love for designing activewear, her passion for yoga and movement, and her dedication to helping the planet become more sustainable. Asia, welcome to the podcast. So glad to have you.
Thanks so much, Trace. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Oh my gosh, me too. It's always nice when I have a guest on that I actually know in person. It makes it extra special.
I know. It is great. It
Well,
definitely calms the nerves.
yes, right? I know it's true because, podcasting is podcasting and it can be a lot. But thank you for being our guinea pig, so to speak, in helping us to understand some of the challenges in running and operating a small business.
Mm. Thank you. I'm excited to be first up of many, hopefully.
Yes, right. So what would you say, like, overarchingly are some of the challenges that you experience from, like, even just a people perspective in running your business?
So right now, I am, you just started talking all about this, and I'm thinking in my mind what's going on right now, HR wise, I guess, in my business. I've never had to let someone go. And it's a personal, I'm kind of like putting a little bit of the personal part into it. And I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I keep going back to when I was working in corporate and my VP would say, and I always, I'm a passionate person. I'm a designer. I'm a Pisces. And she would always say, like, take the feeling out of work. Like, you have to take the feeling out of it. And it's hard to do that, especially when you're the one in charge now, because you really value every single person that is working for you. I'm so appreciative. And I know how difficult it is, but sometimes when it isn't working, like, when do you, I don't know if it's even sticking up for myself. When do I say, okay, what's the best for the business? even though she's a nice person.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a bit of a challenge. I do think, I'm not sure if I am going to move on from this person because, you know, the name of the game is being reliable. And I think it's really hard right now in general, like from what I see in my own business or what I see from other friends with small businesses or big business, finding reliable people is really difficult. So if I have to go back in and do some of the creative work, because maybe, you know, I'm a creative, you know, it's hard to also be the boss and the creative because I kind of micromanage that creative side because it's my baby and I like it and I want to make sure it's got all of the bells and whistles. So maybe she's not the most creative person, but she's always there. So I think that there's, you know, and I don't even know right now if that's like fully answering what you're talking about.
No, it is.
That's, you like kind of triggered this thing that I'm kind of going through because as the business owner, I have to be, you know, all those like Instagram and TikTok videos of like, HR, me, design, me, production, like it's kind of, I'm the one in charge. I have all these other people, but like, it's hard to be the VP of every single little branch of your business.
Right. The head of every department. It is totally answering the question because it's giving us a window into like what your experience is like today. And just for the record, I'm also a Pisces. I didn't know that you were a Pisces, but it makes total sense. I love it. Love the Pisces power. Now that I know this, I'm like, should I push this to February or like March so we get this in Pisces season? But you know, the reality is that like with people, when it comes to making that decision, it should be hard. I always like to say that on the podcast that if you are able to terminate someone and it doesn't give you any emotion, like it doesn't feel icky or messy or feel like it's energy draining, then you probably shouldn't be managing people because you know, you are ultimately impacting someone's livelihood. That said, you know, when it comes to like someone who is potentially, you know, like the way that I'll back up, the way that I always like to see it is like some people meet expectations, some people exceed expectations, and some people are below expectations. And then there are people who are just plain out underperforming. And those who are, you know, below expectations, they might have all of these qualities, like you mentioned, where they're reliable, they're consistent, they're dependable, they're friendly, right? Like those things can all be true. And then there's potentially these few areas where their performance is subpar. And so that, you know, I think what we see in larger businesses or even medium-sized businesses is there's a huge effort for development, whether it's because of resourcing, budget, et cetera, just the bandwidth, whatever that is. Small businesses have a lot less of that, a lot less bandwidth, a lot less, fewer resources. And so that development piece might not always be what you can commit to. But at the end of the day, if this person, I realize I'm in a way kind of giving you some advice, which please feel free to ask for anything. I'm happy to. But I would say if this person is more often than not providing benefits to your business, there could be opportunity to find ways to develop or improve those areas of performance that are subpar. Otherwise, if it's just hurting your business, then you might have to walk away.
So that's funny that you're saying this. I totally agree. I think if we're going to, now we're really just getting into this one topic. So I had this is my email marketing person. I had another person up until February and she was she is phenomenal. Like the design, the copy, like amazing. Love. Okay. And then all of a sudden February comes and she disappears. She the friend, I have a friend who it's his email marketing company. So she came from him. And I call him. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I don't even know. Where did she go? I'm like, what? She's ghosting everyone. It just drops off the face of the earth. So I'm having like a freak out of like, where is this person? Now I have to do this other job, which I'm
Right.
okay with doing, but I was madly in love. Like I thought she could do no wrong. She was amazing. And she was dependable, reliable, creative, the whole thing. She was great. So I carried the weight for a little while. And then he helped me find this other person. And it was always, well, she's not this person. And that's hard, like it's for this new person, like she's really trying her best and she's doing a good job. And I'm always in my mind comparing her to the other person, but she just dropped off the face of the earth. So what am I supposed to do? I can't find her,
How
So
bizarre.
then it was a little strange. It was more of like family. She said it was family things, that's fine. Also, as a small business, to be honest, like, everyone that works for me works remote and they work in faraway countries because that's what I can afford when it comes to, the digital or the, SEO or the marketing, all of these types of little tasks. Well, not little tasks, big tasks. And they're super amazing and responsible and they're great. But when someone just ghosts you from the middle of nowhere, it's really hard to, instead of like, just calling them up on the phone. I don't even have their phone number. So, so then I've been saying that the new person I have to do a lot of changes. She's great and she's proactive, but it's just stuff is not syncing.
Yeah. It's requiring more like work from you.
Yeah. And now the old person kind of just came back into the picture.
Oh, the drama.
But her responses to emails are taking like a while. And she was like, "Oh, I'm ready to join the team." So we don't need to keep going on into this conversation, but it's a lot of that. And I'm like, I'm not sure. And when you go back to the old person, we looked at my analytics of my email marketing and she's like, "Oh, well, that's doing pretty well. That is a good catchy email title to open it. Oh, this is doing well." And then it makes you appreciate the new person. There's always something to kind of think about. And I also have been having this other thing with a web developer. They do my SEO and now they're trying to revamp my website. And, it's again, other countries, things get a little lost in translation. Emails don't get answered as quickly, even just besides being a small business and outsourcing, in general, like, my husband working on Zoom, he says the same things and it's an American company. Like, it's really difficult. I'm not just going next to the next cubicle and saying, "Hey, what's going on?"
Be really challenging.
It's really hard. So I kind of like, I wasn't hearing from the web developer. I was imagining this one thing. I wasn't hearing back. And then when they sent the first round, I'm like, I could do this myself because again, I'm a micromanaging design person and I needed to look like, it needs to look like Girlfriend Collective's website, even though I have the budget of, Transcendent Active here.
Right.
So I kind of freaked out like I normally do. And, I'm like freaking out because I'm excited about this and I'm feeling like they're not understanding what I want and they're not giving me this. And, I need to be treated like Nike, even though I'm not Nike. And that's also a challenge for a small business. Like I treat myself as this. Maybe the budget isn't there, but like, I want you to take me as seriously. And people do, but like, hey, I'm this person. Like, here I am,
Right.
And then I realized after talking to another small business owner friend, I realized that like, I will kind of, in general in life, besides in business, like sometimes I have just cut it. Like, I will just cut you loose and move on. And I kind of started to think like, well, maybe I should give them another chance. Maybe I do that a lot and I do cut loose and maybe I need to work on my communication and I need to say, this is, I need to level up my bossness or something and say, hey, I'm the, cause it's hard to be the boss too. Like I'm learning how to run a business, how to be the boss, how to be the designer. Like I only knew how to be the designer. I didn't know, like
that's
all
a great
of these
point.
other things. And I I haven't dropped them. We're having a meeting today. Maybe they're a little scared of me because I've come, which is a good thing.
You've
I've
come
come
with all of
out
your
like,
notes.
I'm like, I am the boss, okay? This is what
Take
I
me
want.
seriously. Right.
More like me trying to tell myself, like, I'm the boss, like pumping myself up.
Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have
and
to.
and I've gotten like 3 rounds of drafts. We're having another meeting. I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe like I am gonna let them know that I am not happy right now, and they're gonna step up to the plate. Like I'm not gonna just drop you, like
Right.
because
Right.
it's easy to
Oh,
just
it's
drop.
much easier to
And
just drop. Yeah.
of course, I've done that so many times. I've taken that
Mm-hmm.
way. It's kind of the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
And I it's a lot of work to go find another person, and I'm like, I want this done. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say, okay, this is what I expect, and this is what I want you to deliver on, and we're gonna get there. And I know like I will probably go back in and make little design changes and all that stuff, and that's okay. But I need to like work on the communication and say this is how I need it done. Just like with this other, if I'm like kind of in between of like, do I keep the old girl, like keep the new
Mm.
girl, go back to the old girl? Do I,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah. You're at a
those are
crossroads.
some boss sort of challenges. And I went to a networking event, which was amazing. Like I met another small business owner, a woman, small business, and she said, "Oh, you have to join this networking event in the city, and you should go to the cocktail party." I was like, "Okay, sounds great. I'll go." And I meet these 2 women from Chase, and I'm thinking like, "Ooh, okay, great. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna give me
Mm-hmm.
a loan. Like this is perfect."
Right.
Like
Fabulous.
great. I'm gonna get some money. Like why not? One girl, we really connected. She's a mom. She's pregnant. Like we really hit it off. She emails me like a week later after the party and says, "Oh, here's this other woman, and she's gonna help you." So I'm not really reading the email. I'm busy. I'm doing it. I'm like, great. We're getting a small business loan. This is gonna be awesome. So the woman, she schedules a Zoom. We have a call, and she says, "I just wanted to let you know that now you're a part of the Chase um, minority-owned business program." I was like, oh, okay.
Didn't know
I
what
mean,
I was signing up for, but okay, that sounds great.
okay. And she's like, "It's a 6-month program, and I'm going to teach you all about." The 5 areas of business, and we're going to go over every single thing. And then I'm going to help you, like, she's going to kind of guide me in my business and guide me into seeing if I do need capital, what we're going to do with it, which is always my
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing,
Mm-hmm.
and how to get it and how to grow and scale sustainably, like all of these amazing things. And she posted recently on LinkedIn about you don't have to have your MBA to start a business. Running the business is getting the MBA. I'm like,
Right.
yes, that is exactly like it's so
That's
true.
it. This is a
So
great point around like experience over like versus like education. Some people have both, which is great. But I get that question a lot
mhm.
around like whether or not it's necessary to get this master's degree, this bachelor's degree, this certification. And, in some instances, maybe it's necessary. But when you think
Yeah.
about like the creation of a small business, like what you've done with Transcendent Active, and I remember when like this must have been, oh gosh, maybe like 4 years ago already when I was first told about Transcendent Active, and I think you had like 2 products. I think you had literally 2 products on your website, and now you have like this,
I don't
to
even know.
me, like what, yeah, like you have a catalog and you have seasons and like it's just incredible. I know you say you don't know how, but from the outside looking in, like, and even hearing what you're saying about like you're the boss and you have to be the head of every department and you have to you feel like you need to micromanage all of these different things, that all totally makes sense to me because that is how you got to where you are today. It's what took you from 2 items for sale on your website to having what, over like 20 items?
I think so, yeah.
Right? Like that.
I
I mean,
can't.
that's incredible. That's
Thanks.
incredible. Yeah, you should be really proud of yourself. And, like reflecting too on what you're saying around like the reality is that you are, not always happy with things that are coming out. You are the creative person, and you are learning to be like the person that's running the business. And now
Mhm.
you've met some other women who are going to potentially help mentor and guide you in those things. Like, I would expect anyone in your position to feel that same way. And I think this is a very
Mhm.
common small business challenge. I have like, my HR business, and I question myself every single day around like, is this like, would people pay for this? Like, why are my services like worthy of their time and money? Right. But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
what I hear you saying is, I know that what I'm putting out there is something good, and that it's a product, or these are products that people should love and should buy. And
Mhm.
it's doing some, I'm doing something great for not only the environment, but for people. And
Mhm.
it's really, I always say, like, at least to myself, I try to remind myself this, that Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all these people, they're not questioning themselves, or at least they're not questioning themselves outwardly. They were like, this is a business that's viable. This is a
Mhm.
business that makes sense. Even if in the 90s, Amazon made no sense, like it could have made literally no sense. And people were like, that Jeff Bezos guy, he's crazy. He thinks he's going to start shipping things to people's homes. That's crazy. And look at what it is today, right? So it is, I think, really important to know exactly what it is that you want out of your business, because
Mhm.
that's also what helps you navigate the interpersonal stuff where HR kind of comes in. Because at the end of the day, like if you don't have people working for you that are aligned with your vision and they're not
Mhm.
getting there, then it's not a match. And so I'll round this out by saying that it sounds like you're approaching things from a good place. Like you're also, the good news is that it seems to be that you're very self-aware. I think you are self-aware, because you're like, well, maybe I need to, rather than cutting people loose, maybe I need to do something differently. A lot of people don't think that way. People who are
Mhm.
self-aware tend to think that way. And it's much less common than you'd think. And the other side of the coin too is that you these people who work for you, if I'm remembering correctly, are contractors, right? Like they are
Yeah.
contracted
Every.
help for you. Everyone's a contractor, right? So you are also in a position where you can cut people loose if they're not working for your business. It's much not easier, but it does have less there's less at stake if you were to say, this is not working out for me and I need to contract new support, you know
Yeah.
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 So I
I
think
agree.
it's a lot, though. It's a lot to, I mean, you've obviously you've grown your business tremendously. You're active on social media, and it's hard. And I was thinking as you were sharing these stories too, that Nike started somewhere, and Nike, just like just like I said with Jeff Bezos and Amazon, started in his garage, right? Like that's essentially how you've started your business, is
Well,
in
I
your own
like to.
home.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
I do reference those players, but I do try and keep it women owned. So I do reference Sarah
fair.
Blakely way more.
Okay, okay, that's fair. Sarah Blakely is a better comparison.
And I
She,
think she's very self aware. And I think that she really thinks with her heart, at least from what I see on her social, which I don't find to be inauthentic. I think it's
I
completely
agree with you.
authentic. Unless we're all fooled, but I don't think that that's true at all.
No,
And I always like when I'm packing in my pajamas for an event or something, I'm like, well, she did the same thing. And you know what? She's still doing the same thing probably too in this day and age. Like,
yeah,
even
I'm
though she
sure she is.
has a huge house and a family and a successful business and, a sold business and all of that, like, she's still like a regular
Yeah,
person.
Spanx
And
is like a household name.
it's, yeah. So I
We
always
can we
think
can
like
go
that.
with Sarah Blakely. She is a key
Yes.
player, and you know what? It's a good point. Like, why should the first names that come to mind not be some women-owned businesses, right? Hello, Tracy, are you there?
Or
Like, stay awake.
besides that, like when I think of like the kind of boss that I want to be, I want to be someone who's inspiring, myself, my family, the people that
Mm-hmm.
work for me, obviously my customers. Like I don't, and I think it's about, it's inspiring all the people that you have working for you, but also,
Mm-hmm.
to inspire people that we're not just selling clothes here. This is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
This is an identity. It's not the same thing. I had a customer yesterday. I have this like 71-year-old customer. I have a lot of those ladies, not like all of the customers, but I definitely have some of them. And they'll
Mm-hmm.
write an email, like, you know who they are, because they'll write like 10 emails or something. It's the cutest. And she's like, I said, could you write a review? Like, I didn't know what this lady looked like, until she sent me pictures. And she's like, how do I do that? I'm like,
Oh.
literally, like, I like to tell her, like, could you write the review? And then I said, like, to me, simple things,
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I'm a 71-year-old grandmother. I don't know how to do. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Now I got you. So I said, send me some pictures. So she sent me some photos, and they looked like they were actually cute. They were outside. They were on brand. They were outside. They were naturey. She was going on a walk, doing something nice. But like, she's a grandma. So I put her in this like Instagram reel yesterday or Sunday or something. And she writes me back on Instagram. At least she's on Instagram. So she says, I've never been in an ad before. And I was like, I love this.
I'm dead.
Like,
That's
oh my
so
God.
sweet.
And it's like a split second. You barely see anybody in the ad, like you have to watch it over and over again. So she says, I've never been in an ad. And I said, oh, you are a model, girl. I'm like, I am just the facilitator, or I am just the tour guide here.
Right.
You are the main event. Like, and that's
oh my gosh,
really
how
what
fabulous.
I'm just this like kooky
You're
little guide on our journey, and everyone else here is telling me, oh, I want this, I want this, I want, do this color, I want this sleeve length, I want it to be this long, I want it to be this short, I want, whatever. I'm just like, oh, okay, great. And I've been trying, like, if we're going to segue into that, like listening more to the customer, like as the designer, I've added things to the collection that I'm like, that I think are fabulous, and they are, but maybe that's not what's they need. So for
Active
fall, I've
listening
been
is a
trying
huge. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
listening. Yeah. Oh, no. Listening. I know. But the listening is going to save me a lot of time, money, and energy if I just
This
listened.
is true. And listening, that is like it's a huge like component for everything, whether it's customer service and satisfaction or employee satisfaction. And in this case, even still, even though you have contractors, they are still working for you and your brand, and you are still paying them. And the active listening, obviously it's a two-way street, but for you as a business owner, when you do take those initiatives to listen differently or even more effectively, you're going to be able to walk away from those situations, whether they're employee facing or customer facing, with more insight and even more clarity. And it's going to allow you also, like when you are making those tough decisions, to just be able to have like everything that you need, all of your ducks in a row, all of the facts. But it's hard. All of these things are really hard. And one of the things that you had mentioned before is that it's really hard to be a boss. And it is. Like, people think that they're good at something and then they can be a manager, like when we think about just business in general, right? And that's just not always the way that it works. I always saw that in retail. It was like, this person is an amazing seller, let's make them a manager, and then they fail sometimes. Yeah, because there's like, exactly, which is great, but there's like a lack of recognition that the skill set for a seller is totally different for a skill than the skill set required to be a great manager. And so this, again, all I can say is that with you thinking about these things as a boss, as a small business owner, that you are going to allow yourself to have more optimal growth, and you'll be more efficient in the way that you operate as a business leader, but also as a creative, and just looking at how your business has already grown, like it should be it should just open more doors for you, I would say.
That would be great. Yeah.
Right. It's like, if we could just manifest this, that would be a fabulous thing. Thanks.
Well, I think that that's a lot of being, a business owner. It's really, we can call it manifesting, universe, leap of faith, trust, all of these different risk. Risk is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
really, putting it out there. And just recently I've started to see, I put myself on a wholesale website last year
Okay.
because again, like I do believe as a small business or just as any, employee, employer, whatever you are, that you really need to listen to every single, you know, every little interaction that you come across, every little person that you meet is like a gateway to something else. So I
Mm-hmm.
have this pop up last year in the spring, and you know, I do these pop ups sometimes, and they're not. You never know how they're going to be. This one was like meh, and it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of work, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not so great. But I met this woman who happened to work in fashion, who happened to work for the person this woman that I have working for me in production. She's like my LA counterpart who I've known for like 4 or 5 years now. And she used to work at the same company as her. Totally random.
Wow.
Like totally random. And she said, "Oh, you should get on Fair." Fair is a wholesale site for mostly
Mm-hmm.
kind of small businesses, small mid business. Um, and she said, "You should get on that website." And I was like, "Okay, all right." And she kept reaching out. "Did you do it? Did you do it? Did you do it?" And as a small business owner, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have a whole list of everything I need to do today."
Mm-hmm.
I might get to that in like 5 months, but it's on the list. Like, cause how many things can you really control in a day? I can't do that many things.
Right.
So I put myself on the website, and I get one order last year. Like, okay, I don't know how this works. Like everything is like fighting the algorithm. Like I'm constantly fighting for space and airtime, and
Yeah.
I don't know how this whole website thinks, but okay, I'll just leave it there. Just like this month, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, what? Who are these people? Where did they come from? And then I'm like, maybe
Wow.
I should update my whole profile. Like I should probably update my shop. So I update my
Wow.
shop. Boom. Okay, this is amazing. Like so sometimes things take time,
Yeah.
and it also takes time to give it a little attention. Like another business owner friend said that the other day of like, "Oh, I'm on this other site. Like I just gave it a little time and then something happened." Like because you get so overwhelmed by so many different tasks and then you forget about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like I'm the
You're
one
one person.
person.
Yeah.
But that woman led to one, and then going to the networking party, she led to this other woman that's a mentor. Like I went on a vacation and she said, "Oh, there's this free mentoring service." I'm like, "Oh my, I talked to this guy." Like every little thing, like you just have to
Amazing.
like listen and pay attention and take advantage of, and not burn yourself out because
Yeah. I was
that's a
going to
huge
ask
thing.
you if you had advice for someone who was considering starting a small business, and it sounds like amazing advice to like really take
Oh,
advantage of every opportunity, right? But do you have anything else that you would recommend?
yeah, I would read the book Company of One. That would be, I have it on my bookshelf or downstairs. I can't obviously run and get it. That book I would totally read. It's like a game changer. And he says, which I am like a big proponent of, put it out there and tweak it as it goes. Don't
Mm.
worry. Everyone thinks that everything in life has to be so perfect. Like we get
Mm-hmm.
married and we just have like a Kardashian sized house. Like, no, that doesn't happen. Or a
Right.
Kardashian sized bank account. Or,
Right. I wish.
I look amazing every day. Like life
Mm-hmm.
isn't like that. But we have to put it out there and listen to the customer, listen to what you want, what you're capable of doing, what they need, and just keep going and like keep putting it because we always wait for just the perfect everything
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to be waiting so damn long.
Right. Right.
So
You'll be waiting
I
forever.
don't have time to wait.
Right.
Like
That's
we have
amazing
to do
advice.
this.
Yeah, right. No, it's
So
it's really good advice.
that's what I would say. It doesn't
Amazing.
have to be all of the bells and whistles. It could get there, and it's always evolving.
Yeah, it's really a good point, and it's great advice, and it's definitely speaking to me. So Company of One, we'll all have to read that as our homework if we're looking to start a business or ramp up our businesses potentially. So thank you for that, Asia. And actually, I realize we are coming to the end of our time
Yeah.
here, and I really would love for you to share where everyone can learn more about Transcendent Active, where they can connect with you, and just in general learn about your own experience and what you do.
Okay. So by the time this podcast airs, I will have a new fabulous website.
Ooh,
More than
love
my
it.
already current fabulous website with my fabulous web development team.
There you go.
Please check out transcendentactive.com. Also on social, you can find me on Instagram at Transcendent Active. I think that there's an underscore in there, but you can put everything in. Facebook, Transcendent Active, and my all-time favorite, TikTok, Transcendent Active. So
You do make amazing
that's where you would
TikToks.
probably get all of the nitty-gritty day in, day out life updates and things. So those are the places that you can find me.
Amazing. And we'll have all of those places linked in the show notes as well. And your TikTok is amazing. It is something to behold, because it's not, I know it is not easy. I just couldn't get to it. I could never get myself to be in front of the camera like that. And you do an amazing job, and they're very entertaining.
You'll do it. You'll do it. Don't worry.
Maybe one day. But Asia, thank you.
I tell everyone, just put it out there, and again, it's the same.
Right, it's the same thing. Right, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just put it out there. It's true. It all comes back to this Company of One. Asia, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yes, thank you so much. And I can't wait to see your new revamped website.
Thanks.
Hey, just before you go, don't forget to subscribe to this show so that you are the first to hear when an episode drops each week. And maybe leave a 5-star review and a comment about how much you loved this episode. Plus, if you have someone in mind who would really enjoy this episode, make sure you share it with them. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.